up?
Strong, good-looking, and a siren. There's no doubt Lilith played a critical role in the events of the Borderlands series. But we recently explored how things could have been different had she taken Maya's spot in Borderlands 2. And while we found that she held her own just fine, I wanted to explore Lilith if things were kicked to the absolute max. Now on UVHM OP10, I won't be going back through the main scenario, but rather showcasing some builds and strengths that I managed to find. Lilith boasts high critical damage thanks to her Slayer skill, providing a multiplicative damage boost up to a base of 25%. Thanks to Phase Walk and her regenerative skills like Inner Glow and Girl Power, she represents great survivability, able to regen while invulnerable. High Velocity and Quicksilver increase her fire rate and velocity, turning her into an absolute bullet hose with certain weapons. While she does well against most enemies in the game, when it comes to the larger bosses or even raid bosses, she definitely struggles in those departments. Unfortunately, in some cases, simply being unable to accomplish the task. But nothing is set in stone, as those traits are only generalities of her kit. And up next is 3 builds that I found some success with. As we jump right into the melee build, there are 2 unique qualities of Phase Walk that we need to cover. First, as per the mod creator's decisions, Roid damage is not applied to the Phase Strike hit, eliminating the need to keep our shield down for Roid damage. Second, the elemental blast from Phase Walk changes its element based on what kind of relic you're holding. Therefore, if you are holding a corrosive bone of the ancients, your Phase Blast will do corrosive damage, and so on. Our weapons of choice include the Rapier, a unique assault rifle that gives us a whopping 200% damage boost to melee damage. And this does in fact apply to Phase Strike hit, and should be utilized whenever you can. The main weapon, however, is the Grog Nozzle, with the Evisceration attachment. While it only provides us with a 50% damage boost to melee, the hidden Moxie quality heals us for 65% of the total damage that we deal. Added on, there's also a hidden 200% crit damage multiplier, working together to help keep us alive as we wait for the next Phase Walk. The rest of the weapons could be up to you, but I would recommend powerful launchers like the World Burn or Norfleet to help you get up in the event that you go down. Onto the gear, I like to sport the Love Thumper, a unique purple shield that constantly emits an explosion as you melee while your shields are down. Alongside the provided Roid damage, this really helps us kill enemies as we reset to the next Phase Walk, and works well with the Grog Nozzle to keep us alive. There are some other options here, but the best thing about this shield is the extremely long recharge delay time, preventing us from needing to constantly keep our shield down. For the class mod, the Executioner Calm was a given, giving us some base damage to melee and crits and the all-important movement speed so we can actually get to our targets. More importantly, the added stats to Venom increase our base melee damage even further, and putting our Phase Strikes to 10 really pushes the core of the build to the next level. Our grenade is actually rather interesting. The mod creator says that grenade damage mostly does not work during Phase Walk, but you can still throw them. So I went with the Longbow Slag Singularity, allowing you to pull a bunch of enemies together and take advantage of Phase Blast and keeping them close to finish with a melee, helping us bring up the next Phase Walk even sooner. I would recommend using a low level one, as the blast of a max one will probably down you. A Corrosive Bone of the Ancients wraps up the gear portion, changing our Phase Blast to a corrosive element and giving us the much needed cooldown for Phase Walk. Any element would really do here, but I went for Corrosion since it helps with robots and is generally pretty neutral. For the general gameplay loop, I had an idea of things going about like this. I would Phase Walk into the enemies, pull them together with my Singularity nades, and hit the biggest enemy with the powerful Phase Strike hit, preferably critting them. Then our shields would quickly go down, and the Love Thumper will give us that needed boost to take advantage of Blackout to get cooldown with each kill, thus repeating the process. Up next is a little bit of gameplay, and I'll show a full skill tree and gear portion at the end of that section. Unsurprisingly, we see a return to one of the classics. Lilith's mercenary SMG build doesn't rely too much on mechanics like the melee build, and takes advantage of phase walk as more of a utility ability. Skills like Quicksilver greatly ramp up her fire rate, and in combination with damaging perks like Slayer, can really put out the hurt. Her kill skills like Intuition and Phoenix allow Lilith to stay mobile and lethal while reloading, one of her major weaknesses of this build. As far as weapons go, truly any SMG could technically be viable. However, I saw great success with the following. The ever-elusive bitch in all elements really puts to use Lilith's fire rate, coming to a near laser in moments. Choosing the right one in this situation and hitting their crit will melt nearly any enemy. I donned the Hellfire for those fleshy targets, living true to its name and dealing an absurd amount of burn damage as Lilith pumps it into them. The Slagga is critically useful as it allows a consistent application of slag, which is nearly absolutely necessary in OP10. I still keep the Grog Nozzle even in this build, as escaping into phase walk and coming out will always put you back to full health. There are some honorable mentions like the Florentine, but I could have missed some hidden setups out there as well. Shields are largely up to the player. Her skills like Diva and Girl Power can keep up any of them to nearly full charge consistently. I like to run ones like the Blockade or Antagonist while I'm mobbing, but the B shield is almost necessary when taking on bosses. Lilith would technically be excellent at always running the B shield, but sometimes that extra survivability from others really comes in clutch. Grenades are really personal preference, with strong options like the Stormfront for breaking shields or the Fastball for some of those beefier enemies. The class mod is of course the Mercenary Calm, providing some nice base SMG damage and ammo regen, which is actually more helpful than you might have thought. But the true power comes from the skill points, boosting Quicksilver and high velocity, allowing us to truly dump all that ammo. The relics are almost exclusively the trifecta of elemental bones, picking each one on the proper enemy types for optimal results. Things are a little less complicated in this one overall, so it's on to the gameplay. Lilith's sniper setup can offer us a slightly more methodical style of play. By phase walking as a defensive option, we can take better positions to line up those crits that we so desperately need. Alternatively, phase walk can be used to heal, while you are up close dumping those automatic style snipers. Most of our damage here comes from a combination of Slayer and high velocity, and when they get combined with the high base stats and crit multipliers of snipers, send those damage numbers to the moon. When it comes to weapons, there are actually some more options than you might have guessed. Of course, the Lyuda is most likely our strongest choice, With high base stats and all elemental options, this fully auto sniper absolutely shreds through almost all enemy types. The primary flaw of course being ammo consumption, fortunately gets compensated through our class mod. The time-tested Pimpernel is a unique sniper that has an interesting projectile, landing on the designated spot and splitting upwards into several pellets. When used correctly, by splitting inside the enemy's crit spot, the Pimpernel has almost no rival for damage. A less common sniper, the explosive Cobra added some unique play to the build that I wasn't expecting, being able to dish out some serious damage. For slagging, I carried both a Slagga and a Slag Pimpernel, with my personal preference leaning towards the Slagga. There were a couple of other fun options that performed well, like the Elephant Gun or the Storm. Shields are once again preference, with several strong options. I like to wear the Evolution, providing some excellent health regen. The Bee is of course needed for taking on bosses. For grenades, I loved using a Slag Bouncing Betty or Crossfire, allowing me to toss it into a crowd and focus more on sniping. Onto relics, the bones are pretty much the only options again, but an explosion damage relic could be nice while using the Cobra. The Spectre Calm is what really seals the deal, providing a huge sniper crit multiplier and that juicy ammo regen. Not to mention, the boosts are our two most important damaging skills. This build can be played either far back and away or up close and personal. But without much delay, let's hop right into that proof. If you made it all the way to the end here, let me just say thanks for sticking around. This video was just some of the things that I managed to find for the Lilith mod, but I encourage anyone curious to download it and try to make their own builds. OP10 was definitely a different ballpark, and while Lilith is by no means the worst character, I thought she was feeling a bit weak overall. Regardless, I had a ton of fun making this style of video. So again, thanks for watching and good luck out there.